Welcome to the 5th episode of Behind the Blades. You got your host here, Coach Matt Kriesky. You got my co-host here,
Malik Holman.
And we have special guest today, Caden Perkins. How you doing, Caden?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
So, as we go into week 6 versus Siegel, tell us some things that we're going to have to do to be successful for Friday night.
For Friday night, I think we just got to, first off, start fast. Don't start slow. We got to make sure we have great chemistry with the receivers and the quarterback, as well as play great defense against their four-star receiver.
As you're listening to this episode, we do apologize if you do hear some rumblings in the background. There's an event going on in the room. But, Caden, going into your senior season, what's some of the goals you set for yourself individually before this thing got kicked off?
First goal was just to get on the field in the first place. That was the big one. After that, it was to get 1,000 yards on the season, which I'm pretty sure I'm on pace for at the moment.
Yeah, I believe you're around a little over 500, if I'm correct. Is it 547?
Yeah, 547.
547 is what I saw, so you're doing a good job. Tell us how you've adapted to the new offense and some of the schemes offensively that we're doing.
For me, it really hasn't been that hard. I mean, for the running backs, last year we didn't really have a playbook at all, so the fact that we had to, now learn a whole bunch of new plays, I feel like was actually beneficial because I haven't been able to, think through stuff recently for, sports, and that's all.
What was the hardest transition coming in this year from old staff and new staff starting in March from when we first showing up compared to now? What was the hardest thing for you to get over and get used to?
Hardest thing to get used to for me, it was probably the practice schedule because we had a really quick practice schedule last year. We didn't practice for very long, so practicing for 2 hours, I know me and everybody else kind of jarred us a little bit.
So you said that's been one of the biggest, every week, let me go back, every week we ask seniors questions, what's been the biggest transition. So you think that's been one of the biggest overall, just the practice schedule?
Yeah.
Tell us how some of the things, how has it affected y'all in some of the ways?
I feel like partially it does get us ready for games better because last year I feel like we didn't practice as much or as hard. Now we're having to run through stuff really quick. There's not a lot of breaking and talking and goofing around. We're just going straight into it every single day.
What would you say, since you are the main guy on offense, you had to become the bell cow really quickly? What's some of your leadership qualities you provide to the offense to give them a spark besides just your play? What's some of your motivating factors you give guys during the game or at practice?
I feel like I give them the fact that everyone knows I didn't play my first 3 years, so the fact that someone like me can just start my senior year and perform really well should be enough of a motivator for my teammates. Also, I feel like I lead by example. Things simply just cleaning up trash in the locker room or when coach is talking, tell everybody quiet down because we got to focus.
All right, as you're a senior now, as we said. Tell us how you mentoring Jabari Kemp. He's a sophomore running back. He's getting a couple carries a game. So how are you helping him and getting him ready for his junior and senior season?
For him, I'm really just trying to teach him what I was doing, what I knew I needed to work on as a sophomore, and just getting used to game speed. That's really the main thing. Playing freshman in JV and then having to start a varsity game is night and day. The games aren't the same speed, and I feel like that's the biggest thing I try to teach him.
How would you say your relationship is with your position coach, Kevin Meadows, and what's some of the things that he's taught you this year that you previously didn't know, or a skill that he's helped you sharpen up on before going into the season?
Hey man, he's a great guy. Honestly, he's one of my favorite coaches. But for him, he teaches us many things that I haven't implemented before, tiny things that you wouldn't even notice. When you're trying to get arm tackled, using your offhand and keeping the ball in the other hand just so you can avoid that guy tackling you. It makes a carry that could have been 3 yards, a touchdown. Also stuff every Tuesday we go through bag drills and we implement those bag drills into play every single week. I catch myself using the things we get taught during individual drills in the game every single week.
So you're saying that Coach Meadows harps on the little things?
Yes, he really does harp on the little things, but those little things do matter. They do get it. They get it done.
How would you say our offensive scheme this year compares to what you've been through the last 2 seasons? It's more difficult for you to pick up language-wise, signal-wise, because I know everything. We signal everything. Communication up front, protection. How's that going for you so far?
Probably controversial, but I think it's easier for me than the last coaching staff because we didn't have anybody telling the running backs the plays. We kind of just had to figure it out on our own. and we didn't have a like straight signal caller. We kind of just had to pick it up on the fly.
All right, as Caden Perkins moves to the next phase of his life, after he graduates high school, what will you be doing?
I'll probably be playing football at a school. I don't know where yet, but if I got to walk on, I got to walk on, or if I get an offer, it just depends.
What's some of your top 3 schools that you want to attend, either in-state or out-of-state? Would you want to stay close to home, or are you willing to branch out and go further away just to start a new experience?
I would like to stay close to home, but that's not like a deal breaker for me. It doesn't really matter where I'm at as long as I'm playing. But my top 3 schools at the moment is Rhodes College in Memphis, probably Tennessee Tech, and Samford in Alabama.
Those are 3 really good schools with really not only really good football programs, but academics. So you said 3 schools that are highly academic schools. So tell us some of the classes that you're taking and some of the things that you're interested in studying at college.
In college, I think I'm more geared towards like accounting and finance because like once I'm done, end all be all, I want to be a tax attorney. So accounting classes, finance classes, banking classes, stuff like that.
So what's your current pathway here at school?
I'm in the business and marketing pathway.
Okay. I know you said tax attorney. That's pretty good. What's been your favorite football memory so far since you've been a part of Blackman?
Honestly, my greatest football memory was probably last year against Riverdale when we had a lineman catch I guess would have been a swinging gate pass and went like 40 yards down the field. That essentially won the game for us.
So we need to make sure that something like that happens again this year, huh?
Yeah, we need to make sure Big X gets a touchdown.
All right, we talked about where you want to go to school next year. We talked about what you like in school, where you want to go to school for next year. What's some of your hobbies outside of school and outside of football? What does Caden Perkins like to do?
What I like to do, on the side, I like making money by like editing, doing video edit stuff like that, Photoshop. I also like to play video games like Madden and 2K. Outside of that, I love to eat food.
So you said Madden 2K. So who's the best senior in Madden 2K? Let's hear it. We heard it last week.
I'm the best in Madden, and for 2K, it's probably Hernandez.
Oh, I guess that's what line when they said Hernandez. But he said he beat Hernandez in one of the games, so I don't know who's telling the truth at this point. So, all right, go ahead and get up this question. It's one I've been wondering. Of course, your close friend Donovan goes down in the spring. What's some of the first things that went through your mind knowing that you had to step up and become the guy? What's some of the things that got yourself going to know that it's your time?
First thing that I thought to myself was like I was really feeling bad for him because I'm like, man, he's a really good football player, and he got injured last year too, so I felt bad. But then it's like after that, you just got to step up, next man up. I mean, you can't be feeling sorry for yourself and the team. You just got to find a way to make plays.
Let's give a shout out to Donovan. He went through his second surgery yesterday. So, Donovan, if you're listening out there, we hope you're doing well and getting better. If you need anything, give us a shout.
Kay, and also, what's for this new coaching staff and Coach K, what's some of the things you like that he brings to the table from when he got here late February, early March?
The greatest thing I think he brings to the table is that when we practice for each team like they're any other team. Like last week for Oakland, in the past years, we've just been like, it's Oakland week, everybody's freaking out. But last week it was just like, man, they're just some guys. We can beat these guys.
So, as you went through the transition, tell us some of the things that was difficult for you through the process. I know that anytime you go through certain transitions in life, they're not always easy. So tell us some of the things that you've had to adjust to.
Probably from going to like practicing in the mornings and on Sundays to not having Sunday practice and getting more rest. I feel like during the week because we don't practice on Thursday afternoon, but we do it in the morning. I feel like that gets you like ready for the game.
As you already talked about, what's the biggest team goal that you had set for this season coming in as a senior?
For me, everyone's going to probably hate on me for this, but I say we stay championship bound to this day. I don't care how many losses we get. We can still make the state championship. That was my goal.
What do you think's been your best and biggest game so far this season?
My best game was probably Ravenwood. I feel like that's where I got a bulk of my yards, touchdowns, all that. But second was probably Stewart's Creek.
Okay, and coming from you being the leader on offense, you are the bell cow guy. What's it going to take for us to go on this run that we need to make sure that we get our 6th game and get into the playoffs?
Everybody just has to buy in. Everyone just got to believe, I think. You know what I say every practice, one belief. If we all believe, no one can stop us.
You're You're right about that. As we get ready, we're going to finish this week up with Siegel, but as we move next week, we have homecoming. Tell us a little bit about some things that go around here on homecoming, so our listeners can hear. And me and Coach Holman not used to homecoming around here in Blackman. So tell us what we got to look forward to for next week.
Well, the main thing is probably the parade. We get on the floats. We travel around like the Blackman Elementary School area, make it like a little loop back to the high school, throw out candy and stuff. But the main thing is probably the Blaze Bash and the activities that go on. Like, we play kickball. There's kickball games. There's a variety show. You have, like, I think it's 3v3 basketball, stuff like that. And then you got the Blaze Bashes where during, like, there's 2 lunch periods. You got food from all types of places that we normally don't get, but you got to pay for it. But, I mean, it is what it is.
So as all those festivities go on, not just for homecoming, but also during the season, how does Caden Perkins lock in and get himself ready for a game? Are you a music listener guy? Are you a take a nap guy before a game? What's something that calms you down to get you ready?
I'm definitely a take a nap guy. I will be slumped on that bus before week in, week out. I'm slumped.
Any music or anything? What's your type of music, or you just take a nap and boom, you're ready to go?
I normally listen to music. I listen to a little bit of music. I listen to like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar before the games. That's about it.
Okay. What's your favorite song?
Favorite song? Pride.
Oh, it's interesting.
All right. So we talked about music. So now what's your favorite food?
Favorite food? Tacos. 100%.
Tacos. 100%. Of course, he looks like a taco guy. Soft or hard shell?
Hard shell.
My guy.
Caden, we appreciate you coming on today. You can Coach Holman finishing the show. Coach Holman, you got any last thoughts or things before we close it out?
Just make sure, if you guys don't know already, Caden Perkins is a special talent. Also a guy you'll be hearing of a lot as we finish the season. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you tune in next week for episode number 6 already. Go Blaze.